And welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Peter Winnick. I'm the founder and CEO of Thought Leadership Leverage, and you're joining us on the podcast today, which is Leveraging Thought Leadership. Today, my guest is Matias Obludzyner, and Matias is a really interesting guy. He and I got to talking about a week or so ago, and let me just sort of give you the condensed version of his bio. He's got a new book out called The Expanding Circle: How Genuine Leaders Connect with Themselves, Connect with Others, and Make a Difference, which is an amazing book. He spent a long time at the World Bank working with some amazing organizations like IFC, which is part of the World Bank actually. And he was at Ogilvy, and he was at the Inter-American Development Bank. He is a Fulbright Scholar with a Master's in Public Management and Communications from GW. And he's also a certified coach. So like with most of our guests, if we spent too much time on his bio, we wouldn't have any time to talk. So let's just sort of dive in here. So welcome aboard. You're now sort of in this world of thought leadership, sort of independent from organizations, right? You're out on your own now. So maybe tell us about that journey.
Thanks so much for having me, and a pleasure to be here. So
my pleasure.
I am on my own, and at the same time working with a lot of people. That's true. After 11 years at the World Bank, I decided to transition a little bit my career, trying to draw on what I've done before. And I wrote this book, The Expanding Circle, which is about leadership and how leaders can be authentic and communicate and engage with others in a way that they can get.
Right. So your background is in communication. And then you do
yes,
your original background, and then you wind up at the World Bank, which is not necessarily known as a communications organization; it's a bank, right? So how did what your expertise in the bank lead you to think about what ultimately has become the book?
Okay, yeah. So let me tell you, let me backtrack a little bit. So yes, that's true. I studied public administration and communications.
Okay.
And then when I went to the World Bank, when I was finishing my master's degree in the US, I got called for an interview. And it was not the public sector part of the World Bank. You know, the World Bank lends money to government. It was the private sector part of the World Bank, the part that it's pure finance. It's like in the sense that it's like an investment bank for private sector companies in emerging markets. They do like capital. So it's like, and I was like, I don't come from the private sector. And well, they like me somehow. They hire me and they send me to study finance, which was very important. And I took it very seriously because I thought, if I will get some credibility here with the management, I need to know what they are talking about. And then, almost right after I started there, I started working for different leaders, senior leaders of the organization, helping them first with communications, the traditional communications, their external positioning. But then I got involved in the staff engagement, the internal positioning, and I started helping them with the organizational development, the change management. And so over all these years, I've been very lucky. I saw great leaders working, and I was part of that. I was able to help them a little bit. And this book, what I do, I try to capture the best practices that I saw.
Got it. So now that you've completed the book and you've left the World Bank, what are the types of problems that you're solving and for whom? So what does it look like now?
In a way, okay, I keep doing the same. I keep doing for leaders, organizational leaders, and I help them with how they influence, they position themselves externally and influence that. That's pretty much in line.
So I want to pause you there, because oftentimes what I've seen happen with sort of internal folks that are embedded in an organization, where they get a thought in their head, oh, maybe I'll go out on my own one day and be an entrepreneur and start my own thing and whatever. And then they sort of freeze. And the way you so smoothly sort of answered that question of, well, you're doing the exact same thing, right? You're working with senior leaders, helping them solve the same problems. The only difference is you're not a staff member of an organization, so you have
Yeah.
to develop those relationships on, sell it, market it, bill your clients,
Mhm.
etc. But at the end of the day, if you parking lot the economics and you parking lot the marketing and the sales, what your days look like now aren't that much different when you get down to what are the types of
Yeah, I mean,
projects that you're working on.
let me try. It's true. I said I'm doing the same. What I was, and I'm not sure that's the right way of wording it, but what in a way the expertise that I bring is the same, and I'm building on what I learned working for these leaders.
Got it.
And I when I thought about this career transition, it's like, okay, let's do it incrementally. It's like, okay, I have this expertise advising leaders on communications, organizational development. Let's do that. It's a big change. It's big enough that now I am on my own. And so
Right.
it's like I try to, it's like trying to pivot on what you already know. Having said that, and at the same time, something happened, at least in my case, in the last couple of years, I had already started working with some clients on the side.
Right. So let's talk about that, because oftentimes to mitigate the risk of going out on your own, you could start doing things assuming that you have that freedom and you're not constrained from an employment contract perspective to say, wait a minute, why does it need to be binary? Why do I need to quit my job on Jan 1 and then find a client on Jan 2? I have a little bit of bandwidth. You couldn't pick up 20 clients, probably be overwhelming, but you can pick up a handful of clients, sort of test the market. Did that help you figure out the pieces that were new to you in terms of pricing and scoping and
Okay,
contracting and all that? Yeah.
that's a very good comment, because when I was saying, well, I said I keep doing the same, and then I said, well, I'm not sure that's the right way of wording it. There is a whole world which is different.
Yes.
Now you are your own product. You need to market yourself. You need to know how to price. When you work for a large organization, there are things that are given. There are other complexities. And also, it's not necessarily the same kind of advice that you can give somebody when you are part of the same organization.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, like when you come from outside, you can tell them the hard truth. I mean,
Right.
they are
Well,
not going.
sometimes that naivete that you have around their corporate culture or politics or something like that could work in your benefit, right? Versus if you're all at the same organization like the World Bank, there's this unwritten rule of we don't do things that way here, whatever
Yeah.
that means, right? If you're enjoying this episode of Leveraging Thought Leadership, please make sure to subscribe. If you'd like to help spread the word about our podcast, please leave us a review and share it with your friends. We're available on Apple Podcast and on all major listening apps, as well as at thoughtleadershipleverage.com/podcasts. So I would also want to ask, because when I've seen people do what I call sort of a soft transition, instead of just sort of diving in, they do a little bit of clients on the side, et cetera. More often than not, and I want to see if this is true in your case, the initial handful of clients that they have, sometimes the initial handful of clients that'll last them the first 3 or 4 years of business are people that they already knew, right? People that were already, they had a relationship with, et cetera. How did you go about finding those first few clients? And I would imagine it's not a heavy marketing activity, but people that were already in your network, in your circle.
Yeah. I mean, as I'm thinking this is, my goal is, I would say, my goal is to be very good at what I do and make sure that I bring value to whoever I'm serving. And so I said, okay, I have this handful of clients. Let's focus on them. Let's make sure that they are happy with me, and then the ball is gonna start to increase. And it's not necessarily a matter of numbers; it's a matter of like to find the clients that are the right fit for me. Having said that, at this point, it's like I'm not like I'm I'm not like about like, oh no, I just want to do this on my own. I'm fine working for other organizations to the extent that I feel that that's the right fit to find the right clients and where I can do my best.
Got it. So how does, and maybe I want to see where the book plays in. So you've got the book,
Yes.
and the book started before you started the business. How is that related to, or how does that support your launch of the business? Having a book under your belt now.
Yeah, the book started in a way. I've been thinking about this book for a long time, and the book started when I already knew that I would be leaving the work bank, and it was also, as I said, I thought for a while before I even started writing the book, and it was a way for me to understand what I would bring in my next phase, in the next phase of my career, what I really enjoyed doing, where I wanted to focus, and also to think, okay, how these skills and these issues that I have been working on, how will be relevant looking forward. And then I started writing the book before I left, and I finished the book while I was already on my own. And yes, of course, I thought, okay, this book is going to help me position myself. Yes.
Sure.
But I saw it, I don't see this book as I saw the book like as a tool to start conversations, to use this network, to reach out to this network I already have and have a conversation about, okay, this is.
So share with us, if you would, an example or two of how you've used the book for that purpose. Because I think what happens is people go down the path of writing the book, and sort of the first wave is, well, what am I going to write about? What am I not going to write about? How do I codify my thinking, the models, the frameworks, realizing that the constraints of a book of a limited number of pages force you to get really, really tight about what you want to say and and more importantly, what you want to leave out. Then the book is done, and it could either, sort of sit on the proverbial shelf, or there's a different hat that you have to put on, which is to get the book out in front of the people that matter. So tell me a little bit about the second piece there. What have you been doing? And maybe this podcast is an example of that.
I used to work for somebody who is featured in the book. Her name is Rachel Kite. She's now the dean of the Fletcher School, the International Relations School at Tufts University. And she used to say, you have to invest as much, meaning resources and time and thinking, especially thinking, in producing the book, the report, whatever knowledge product you are producing, as in thinking how you are gonna use it, what's gonna be your marketing strategy. And
right. So wait, I just want to make sure I got that. So same amount of effort writing the book as marketing. And I would argue, I agree with that 100%.
You know more about that. What
yeah, well, I would say, well, maybe even it's as hard, if not harder, to market the book, because for many people, there's a self-selection process. People that hate writing typically don't engage in the activities of writing a book. So ultimately, when you complete a book, there is some joy, some satisfaction. I'm proud of this. This really, I got to meet some interesting people. This really reflects who I am, my thinking, etc. But then the domain of marketing, it's like, I don't know anything about that. That's the scary part. Where do I even start? Do I stand on the corner and hand them out? Do I, what do I do and what do I not do? And then you have to become, which I think is hard for a lot of experts to do, have a beginner's mind and say, okay, so I know nothing about this. Where am I going to learn and how am I going to learn?
Yeah. In my case, perhaps because in part, what I do with my clients is to help them position like with communications. And so I have expertise doing that. And because my mind works in a way like that, once I started writing the book, it's not that day one, exactly how it's going to look like. It's a process. It's art in a way. You need to try different things. But I was thinking, okay, I was having in mind how I would use this book. And if you see the book, it's like I'm talking about like genuine leadership, a kind of leaderships that are leaders that are really good at understanding themselves. They work hard in understanding themselves. They also use based on that understanding that they have of themselves. They connect with others in a very open, generous way, and they are good at aligning the two, what I call the two circles, the inner and the outer circle.
Yeah.
And when that happens, their influence expands. So I came up with a framework to explain this based on my experience.
Sure.
And then I feature different leaders, which are leaders I have worked for for the most part. And so I was thinking how to use this. Okay, these are in a way like I will market the book. I want people to see, oh, this guy already has experience working for so and so. So it's gonna be good if he works for me, or even the people I feature in the book, who are people already know me now, they will have a tool if they want to refer me.
Yeah. So I want to just comment on that. So oftentimes people separate the content development from the business development, if you will. And what you've done is able to conflate it, saying, so I've interviewed whatever these 6 or 8 people. I've strategically picked those people, not just from a marketing perspective, but I've taken that into consideration, right? Who are they? What are they? Their stories, how well I know them, how much it aligns to my thinking, and all things being equal, the ones that can help you from a marketing perspective or exposure perspective on the book, that's going to help you make the decision as well, because some of those people might be more well-known than you or have bigger followings than you or whatever. And you have to put some systems and processes in place so that they can help you get that book out there. Because a lot of people will say, hey, Matias, great, I'm glad you're writing a book. Good luck with that. Let me know if there's anything I can do. And then the author never comes back to them. Well, they're not going to stay up late at night trying to figure out how to make your book a success.
You're trying to tell them and make it easy for them.
Yes.
Most people will want in your network, people who know you, they will want to help you if you make it easy for them and you tell them what you need. And when I'm hearing you and I'm thinking, okay, in my case, in a way, it comes naturally to me because it's what I've been doing for
Sure.
For me, what was important, I was talking about genuine leaders, or it's like I wanted the book to speak to who I am and who I am, the communications and leadership and organizational development advisor. So the key, I believe, is to find that line in which, that spot in which you can be strategic in how you produce your book, but at the same time, it's your voice. It's true to who you are, which is not easy.
Yeah, no, you've got to be strategic and authentic, which I think is the key piece, right? And there's always a balancing act here. Well, this has been great. Any final thoughts to share as we close up?
No, it's been a pleasure. It's great, and it's great to discuss with you. You have a lot of experience, like marketing knowledge products. So it's a pleasure for me.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your time, and thanks for being with us today, Matias. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
To learn more about Thought Leadership Leverage, please visit our website at thoughtleadershipleverage.com. To reach me directly, feel free to email me at peter@thoughtleadershipleverage.com. And please subscribe to Leveraging Thought Leadership on iTunes or your favorite podcast app to get your weekly episode automatically.